Will the Denver Broncos beat the Pittsburgh Steelers? We're making our final predictions on the DNVR Broncos show. Plus, a big-time injury update for the Broncos. How concerning is it? And is this a must-win for the Broncos? We're talking all about it now with a special guest starting now. What's a bigger rivalry? Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, or CU, CSU? And I've got the perfect person to answer that question. On the DNVR Broncos Podcast, we are live from the Toyota Lounge inside the DNVR Bar. Of course, the Toyota Lounge is driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores, and we're presented by Bet365. Shout out to Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. Ryan Koenigsberg, welcome back.
What's up, man?
Man, it's good to be back. It's been way too long, and I'm a little out of breath because I was, just out of the routine.
Yeah.
But I'm really stoked to be here with you guys talking ball.
No one knew that you just showed up. And now you just told the world.
You know what? It's okay. It's all right. I am authentically me. I've got nothing to hide.
Yep. That's you got nothing to hide except maybe if CSU pulls off the upset this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I won't be able to hide.
That's very true.
But I don't see that happening.
So what's a bigger rivalry this week? Is it Sean and Russ, or is it CU CSU?
Well, both rivalries are one-sided in their own way.
Explain.
Well, CU and CSU is one-sided in the sense that Colorado's record in the rivalry is 68-22-2.
That 2 is disgusting.
Yeah, they used to let them tie, which is wild. Sean Payton and Russell Wilson is one-sided in the sense that Russell Wilson never really did anything or said anything about Sean.
That's
but
true.
It was very obvious that Sean Payton really did not like Russell Wilson. So I'm going to say CU-CSU is more of a rivalry because there is hate coming from both sides.
I like that. You think Russ has some hate for Sean?
I think a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Not a lot. Not as much as CSU has for CU. Those guys are fired up, man. I've been listening to the wide receivers and stuff talk. They feel like they should have whooped you guys last year, so it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, we've got a whole show to talk about that later.
I cannot believe CSU just absolutely torching CU before this game last night.
The crazy part to me, obviously, is just if you just heard that quote out of context, you would think that Colorado State won easily. Talking about a rude awakening, talking about your 11 guys got to line up. We'll see who wants it more. We'll see how far Instagram followers them. So does that mean Colorado wanted it more and Instagram followers got them far enough to win?
Well, I don't know. He did point to the spread, and the CU did not cover the spread. So maybe he's just talking about the spread. Maybe he's looking for a 6-point loss tomorrow instead of an 8-point loss.
I'll take it.
And Todd, I agree. I don't really think Russ can't hate the Broncos, can he? I mean, how much cash did they pay him? $120 million for 2 years?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's easy to forget about that type of stuff.
It's easy to forget about $120 million?
I mean,
what could you be mad at, though?
Okay, so let's say you're working at DNVR, right?
Uh-oh.
You love it.
Yeah, hypothetical,
everyone loves
right?
you. I mean, look at these people. They love you. And then you get offered a bunch of money to go somewhere else. So, let's just say twice as much salary. Is that generally about what the Broncos gave Russ? Is that what he was making before? Maybe not even. And then you got there, and all of the listeners didn't like you, and the program director thought you sucked, and you were constantly butting heads with management, and they were like, "Oh, your, whatever the equivalent of the QB coach, your wife can never come to the office. If she, if you want to talk to your wife, you can do that at home." That type of stuff I think you would come out, even with your pockets full, you would come out with some hate for that new company.
But I think Russ did it. Like, Russ did it to himself. I don't think that management just didn't like him from the start. So if I go to the news station and they're like, hey, no cussing on air, and I cuss 20 times a show, like, they're understandably mad at me.
But do you understand that?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, I understand that.
I'm saying, like, if you're the guy who cursed and they're mad at you and you're just like, this is just me, though. Like, what's going on here? Do you understand that?
I think you walk out saying, I did what I wanted to do. I did it my way. And if you didn't like it, you didn't like it.
And they hated me.
I think the wrinkle added to this is a new boss comes in a year after you're working at this new place and changes all the rules and then doesn't like you and makes you look bad.
Because you got the other boss fired.
Exactly, yes. And then this boss thinks that you did the poor job and not necessarily, well, actually, the new boss thinks that the old boss did an awful job. One of the worst jobs in history of this company, and also you did a bad job. So that's why I don't know if Russ hates the Broncos. I can't imagine he likes Sean Payton, especially because of what you said. Sean has thrown him under the bus time and time and time again. And did he do it again yesterday with how dismissive he was of Russell Wilson? We got 2 clips of Sean Payton being asked about Russ, and you hear this first one let's play the second one first, where Sean was asked, look, Russ was a captain last year for this team. Do you talk to the team, address the team at all? Because there might be some emotions here with Russ. Before we play this clip of what Sean said, what do you guys think Sean said? Does he address the team about playing Russ at all?
No, it's just another game.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. You guys are right. Let's hear it from Sean.
No. No, I mean, we're focused on, look, we're not playing tennis or golf. I mean, we're playing a team game and we're focused on the Steelers, and they're a good football team.
We're not playing tennis or golf. Like, I just feel like that's even more of a low blow. Like,
what does that have to do with it?
Just because those are individual sports. So, like, I get where he's coming from. But, I mean, just how dismissive he was. You think if, like, the Saints were, let's say they moved on from Drew Brees and Sean Payton was still the coach, and they played Drew Brees the next year, that there would be a little more of an acknowledgement that Drew Brees is the other team's starting quarterback.
But Drew Brees is a legend for that team.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like when Payton came back to Indy after that game, I guarantee they talked about that.
Yeah, but you don't want to hype this guy up. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is our opponent. So I don't want to have 12 conversations telling you how great this guy is or how emotional it's going to be, and now you're psyched out going to just go and play football. It doesn't matter who it's against, right?
That's fair. So what about the opposite conversations, Todd? Do you think in the building, when they're preparing for Russ and or Justin Fields, Sean is telling the defense, or the defense is having conversations, not about hyping Russ up, but about like, man, we should have 15 sacks this game. We should not let this guy score. Do you think there's any conversations like that?
For sure. Like, those conversations happen all the time. Like, you guys remember what he was like in practice. You know, they'll go through that. You remember, like, you know, his cadence, or, you know, he'll give you opportunities with the football. Like, we have to take advantage of those opportunities. We got to get to the quarterback. We know how he likes to scramble into sacks. Like, they definitely have, I feel like, those conversations.
I mean, it's similar to, like, if you have, like, this might be way too specific of an example, but it makes sense to me. If you have, like, a next door neighbor that you play one-on-one with all the time, and you know all of their little, you know, their moves and what they like to do, and then you actually, like, play competitive basketball with your team, you're, like, telling your team, like, okay, like, when he gets around the rim, he never finishes with his left. Like, all of that stuff. You're telling them all that. So they're absolutely having those conversations, but I don't think those conversations are going to matter because I don't think Russ is going to play.
So let me speak your... Oh, interesting. Let me speak your language, RK. Bull junk. That's some CU language, right? That's some Coach Prime language right there.
Yeah.
Are you calling bull junk on Sean Payton when he was asked, do they have any more insights on Russ? And who are they preparing for? Is it Justin? Is it Russ? Let's hear from Sean.
No.
Since Russ hasn't been ruled out for this game, are you preparing for both guys? Want Fields more? How do you handle
Yeah, I think you look at Fields last week, and then obviously, you know, you prepare for both, and you know, both guys have different strengths, and so you have a plan for both. But certainly it starts with Fields.
It starts with Fields. Is that him throwing Russ under the bus, or is that just because he thinks that Fields is going to start?
I mean, he started last week and they won, and he's healthy. So I'm actually not calling bull junk.
Okay.
I'm saying that's fair game. That's true.
I think what the Steelers are doing is a little bit of bull junk here. Because I think there was gamesmanship last week with pretending that Russ was going to maybe be healthy enough to play when, in reality, they knew the whole time it was probably going to be Justin Fields. And I think it's too obvious that Justin Fields is going to be the starter. And, I mean, there have been, reports from national media that are just picking up one line of what Mike Tomlin has said and running with it, essentially already deeming Justin Fields a starter. I don't know if Mike Tomlin operates that way. I think he knows what he needs to put out and what he doesn't need to put out. Russell Wilson practiced yesterday. Now, he wasn't unlimited. He was limited in practice, but he still practiced yesterday. I wouldn't count him out just yet. But Ryan, I asked Todd this yesterday. If you're the Broncos, you're Vance Joseph, who do you want to face?
Really quick, please clip Todd's face when Zach said unlimited. What was the question again?
Do you want to play against Justin Fields or Russell Wilson if you're Vance Joseph? Not if you're RK and you're wanting the storyline. You're the defensive coordinator. Who's easier to play against?
Russell Wilson.
Wow. We have a clean sweep outside of me.
Yep.
You said Russ. Henry said Russ. Ryan, you said Russ. I said Justin Fields just because I don't want the ball in Russ's hand with 1:50 left.
I think that's fair. But I'm not thinking about 150. I'm thinking about 60. And over the course of 60 minutes, I think Justin Fields is capable of doing stuff that hurts you more than Russ. And that's not necessarily standing in the pocket and, hitting a slant on 3rd and 4. It's getting out, scrambling around, having a long run, finding time in the pocket and uncorking a bomb behind the defense. Like those things I feel like is how you would lose this game. And just speaking of Mike Tomlin, I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to get this take off, so I'm just going to get it off. So underappreciated as a coach.
Totally agree.
And I think he's appreciated, just not nearly enough. I think that he should be right up there in the conversations of best coach in the league right now and one of the best coaches we've ever seen. And last week, I think, is such a great example of it because everyone's just dogging the Steelers all offseason. Oh, my God, look at this quarterback room. It's an embarrassment. And they're actually right.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't matter because they're coached by Mike Tomlin, and the team is just going to find a way to win. And I'm confident that at the end of the season, they'll still have a winning record somehow, some way, because even if it takes them 6 field goals to win a game, that team and what Mike Tomlin has built and the way that he instills whatever it is in those guys, they just find ways to win.
I feel like it's honestly crazy because we always talk about how it's a quarterback-driven league. Like you need a top 5 quarterback to be able to have a winning record, a shot at the playoffs, and they're the only team in the NFL where that does not matter. Yeah. Every other team needs a top 5 quarterback. For them, it doesn't matter who's that quarterback. They're going to have a winning record. They're probably going to make it to the postseason and see what happens.
Yeah, and you do still need a quarterback to get to the mountaintop.
To the mountaintop, yes.
But somehow, some way, they find a way. And again, last week is just such a great example of it doesn't matter how bad anything looks. We're just going to find a way.
They started 3 quarterbacks last year. All 3 of them are not starters this year. And they still made they still at least had a winning record. It's insane. So then, Todd, I have to piggyback off of this. Was Mike Tomlin a selling point for you almost going to Pittsburgh? Because you were offered the exact same contract in Pittsburgh, or were you turned off by him?
No. Everything I hear about Mike Tomlin and the guys that play for him, they just love it. You know what I'm saying? For him as a motivator, for him as a coach, how he inspires the team. Nobody that has played for Mike Tomlin that I know didn't like their time at the Steelers. My problem was how cold it was and having to move and leave Denver. So that's why I didn't go.
Yeah, I don't blame you. We'd have to have opened like PTTS, Pittsburgh. No,
we'll figure it out.
I like that.
Did you at least though have to think about how you'd look in that uni?
I don't even know if I considered the uni at the time because it was like,
as a linebacker, I just feel like putting on that Steelers uni would feel powerful.
I think I knew I wanted to be a Bronco. So once my agent called me and say, "Hey, you got more money from Pittsburgh," he's like, "I'm about to call Denver," and then they matched it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't really. I thought about it for maybe like 20 minutes, and then it was like, "All right, I'm signing."
Yep, and you agreed to terms like 2 minutes after free agency officially began, and I think there still was a tampering period back then, so I think it probably was open for a couple of days.
Hey, I'm not making any comments. You're
No. There was a legal tampering. I should have put the legal in front of tampering there. There was a legal tampering
when the league said I could sign.
Todd's out here getting paid under the table.
Speaking of money, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Westera Credit Union, where they are all about Colorado. They've been around for over 90 years. They were founded in 1934 right here in Colorado with 9 locations in the Denver metro area. And they're all about helping members financially prosper to help you get the bag. And education is their thing. They were started by a group of 8 school teachers, so helping others is in their DNA. And as a member, you see that in all of their interactions where they're all about the local community. They just launched their 90th anniversary CD that offers a whopping 9% annual percentage yield. That's right, 9% annual percentage yield on a 5-month certificate of deposit, a CD. And you can start earning high interest on balances as low as $500 and a max of $3,000. And of course, they're insured by the NCUA. This is a limited time offer. So if you want more information to sign up, go to Westera CU, just like Ryan's school, CU, WesteraCU.com to learn more. Early withdrawal penalties if I apply. Fees could reduce earnings. Rates are accurate as of September 1st, 2024. New money and in-branch offer only. Limited time offer, subject to change without notice. Review membership account agreement, disclosures, and information guide for additional details. Membership eligibility required, insured by NCUA.
Every time I hear NCUA, I think of Puka Nakua.
Did he go to...
No, just NCUA, like Nakua.
He said, did he go
He went to the National College of the University of Americas.
That's what I was thinking. I thought you were going to say NCAA, which shout out CSU for making the Pac-12.
Yeah, the Pac-12.
Which is 6.
Yes. And shout out to our friends at Breckenridge Distillery. Breckenridge Bourbon Whiskey is the official bourbon and vodka of the Denver Broncos. And yesterday I was actually at the Broncos Stadium. Can't tell you what I was doing there, but I got to go into the Breckenridge Bourbon Suite, and it's really nice. It was my first time in there. Right now, they have a chance for you to win 2 tickets to go to Denver Broncos game in the Breckenridge Bourbon Suite, and I'm telling you, if you win these tickets, you will not be disappointed.
It's
a great time. I didn't even have any drinks while I was there. It wasn't open, but just the bar itself, the atmosphere, I think it was really, really dope. And right now, you can look for their 2024 Broncos Bourbon blend to hit the shelf starting right now. It's already on shelves. You can go get it. You want to check it out. You can celebrate the Broncos by posting your photos on social media using hashtag Broncos Bourbon. Also use code DNVR at checkout for free shipping on all orders over $99. You can learn more at BreckenridgeDistillery.com.
Wait. Oh, shout out to our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. Todd,
you were looking at me like you were going to have a question from
I was going to. I do have a question for you. Did you accidentally tweet a picture of you at the stadium yesterday?
No.
I think I'm not sure about that.
It wouldn't be the worst accidental post of yesterday.
By a former Bronco.
I purposely posted it, and then I purposely deleted it.
yes. There we go. Because you know how when you like open Twitter, like the last or like pulls up something, but then it sometimes like refreshes before you're able to refresh.
I hate that, dude.
It
is my least favorite thing.
Especially when you see something good, and then you're like, wait, what exactly was it? How can I find it?
You accidentally hit home button or something, and it's gone forever.
And that's what happened yesterday. I open it. I see Todd that he's in. I see what looks like. I'm pretty sure that's the stadium, but then it disappears. So I go and I search your name and look at, and it's not there.
Yep.
And so I'm like, that's was it a reply? Because sometimes those don't show up on the timeline. So I scrolled, it's gone. I was like, was it his Instagram? Like what? And I just can't find this. So it makes sense. Yeah. You can't tell us why.
No, not yet.
Oh,
you'll see why. You'll see. You guys will see.
Interesting.
You guys will see.
I have a question for
tease.
Todd too. Zach is so good at planning the show; he's probably gonna hate me. But this is the first time I've literally seen Todd since training camp. First time we've talked since training camp. So what? I just have to ask one question. You guys might have already asked this, but what's one thing that you learned about the team that you can share here that you wouldn't have known if you didn't do what you did during training camp?
Oh man, now I got to think back to my time at training camp. I think the thought process for evaluating players and all the news that we get here, I think that it's known for a long time before it's out. And I don't think I would have known that had I not been, because as a player, you're downstairs all day. But once you're upstairs, like you hear a lot of rumblings. Like if anybody was getting traded, if anybody's getting released, I knew maybe 2 weeks before that it was happening, or a week before. Not every person. I don't want to say like I knew like everything was up in the air, but like, you're having conversations because you're trying to build a roster a lot more prematurely than people think.
Wow, that is really good. Last one. Do you feel like exponentially more prepared to like talk about this team and cover this team having been that close?
Yeah, without a doubt. I feel like, especially the defensive side of the ball, before you watch and what cover 4, what cover 2, what cover 1, what cover 3 looks like on film. But now I know like what they're actually calling, what the plays, what this blitz, all the different assignments, and the same thing on the offensive side of the ball. Like I feel really prepared to be able to cover this team. I know the guys a lot better than I did last year. So all the way around, yes.
So you're saying like if a media member tweeted that a certain player blew a coverage, like you would be able to tweet back at them?
That's you. That's not right. Yeah, yeah, I can do that.
And there's no guesswork with you knowing the scheme or knowing assignments. You know exactly what it is. That's why the Inside Scoop was my favorite segment we did last year after the game when you go through and break down the tape. Now it's even better this year because I never questioned what you were saying last year. Yeah. But now there's just absolutely no doubt because you know exactly what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, and I had worked with Vance Joseph before, so I knew his scheme. I knew his play calls. But even since our time together, maybe 2018 or 17, he's changed things up and has new play calls, new schemes, a little bit different, a lot more, Alex gets a lot more opportunities to blitz than I did, but I'm saying it's all love. I'm happy to see him getting his. So it's good to, refresh and get back into it.
You know who led the team in tackles last week? I didn't realize this until yesterday.
Riley Moss.
Yeah.
Riley Moss looked good, man.
Yeah.
I
trying to tell people.
He was flying around.
Gosh, and he was an inch away from knocking that ball out from Tyler Lockett from catching it. That was an insane throw and catch.
Yeah. Truly. I mean, I had to stop watching it because it was so painful.
Yeah.
It's like maybe not even an inch.
Man. And that's something that Sean Payton kept giving Riley credit for. He said he doesn't make every single play in training camp, this was, and the preseason, but he's always around the ball. And he said that's not something you can teach. Finishing is something that you can teach, but being that close all the time is just something that you either have it or you don't. And Riley clearly has that. So I come away from that game encouraged because Tyler Lockett's a craftsmanship. I mean, he knows exactly what to do, and Riley was pretty much on him all game.
Yeah, and I think that was his first game starting, and I think that every player will tell you get better over time. And if he's just a half step away from making game-changing plays in his first game, throughout his time as a player, as a Bronco, as a starting corner, he'll gain 2 or 3 steps just based off of his eyes, his progression, and how he reads plays and deciphers routes. Like, he's going to get a lot better to be a really, really big force for the Broncos, in my opinion.
I totally agree, and he's going to be key in this game. And speaking of this game, let's get into the question that's the headline of this show. Is this a must-win game for the Broncos? And it's wild that for the past 7 years, we've had this conversation in September. Like, no, you shouldn't be having these conversations till December and January and hopefully February. But here we are, after just 1 week of the season. Is this a must-win game?
I'm assuming that when you tweeted this out, you're getting cooked for saying it.
Oh, okay.
And I agree with those people. This is an insane question in week 2. No, it's not a must-win game. First of all, must-win for what?
That's the question.
I say it's a must-win for all the fans that paid to take the over for the Broncos wins. This is a must-win because if we don't start racking up wins.
Is that what it was at?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you don't get this one, I mean, when do you start racking up wins?
All right.
Great point.
So for the people who have money on the Broncos having more than 5.5 wins, I say this is a must-win for them.
I actually disagree with that even more than I disagree with the original question. Okay, so first of all, if the question is this a must-win to make the playoffs? The answer is still no.
Well, I disagree.
But if the answer is this a must-win for the over? Is this a must-win for the chemistry? Is this a must-win for whatever? It's also still no. This whole season is really only about one thing, in my opinion, and that is developing Bo Nix and can Bo Nix be a franchise quarterback in the NFL? We are in the earliest. If this is a day, we haven't even gotten out of bed yet. We're just sitting on our phones scrolling Twitter in the course of this story.
That can ruin your day, though.
It can. Whew, it can. Trust me.
It could also make your day.
It can as well. This is so early in the process, and in my opinion, it's nowhere near a must-win game. This is one that you absolutely want to win, and winning could go a long way towards something like making the playoffs if that's the ultimate goal. But to me, this season is about finding out if Bo Nix is the guy, and obviously they've invested in him to be the guy. So it's more about developing him to be the guy. Every single rep is going to be valuable, and from a 5.5 standpoint, if that's what we want to talk about, to me they could start 0-4, 0-5, and still hit that. It's because you're progressing on a scale, and so there is a chance that in week 6 it clicks for Bo Nix and he's ready to go, and then they start rattling together some victories. The team that is going out there on Sunday does not have to be the team 3, 4, 5 weeks from now, and especially Bo Nix isn't going to be the guy on Sunday that he will be 4, 5, 6 weeks from now.
I agree with you, and I disagree with you because at the start of this season, we all had the Broncos with the winning record. I mean, that was 1 week ago, 6 days ago, we all had the Broncos with the winning record. And so I think our Broncos Country's hopes were winning record, playoffs, maybe that was a little bit of a stretch, but it was still a hope and a goal for this team. But the 5.5, are you kidding me? Yes, everyone in Denver thought that they were going to hit that, including Sean Payton. Of course, he had the quote with Jeff Duncan. And he said, Sean Payton said.
Big Dunk?
Yeah, Big Dunk. He was out here. Yeah.
Let's go, Big Dunk.
Yeah, he came and visited, and he got the quote from Sean. And Sean said, the next time I win 6 games will be the first time I win 6 games. So Sean's believing that he's not going to win fewer than 7 games. He thinks he's going to hit the over. So I do think the bar is set. Oh, man, I can't believe the bar is set at least 6 games. That's just so low still. But for that over-under, Todd, and for the Broncos to make the playoffs, I do think this is a must-win game but now there's a bigger picture of what's truly success. And I do agree with you. Success in this season is finding out if Bo Nix is the guy and having Bo Nix be that guy. And you don't need to see that this week to say he's the guy, because I totally agree. We could see him come on in the second half of the season and call it still a success if he goes out and wins 4 of the last 5 games.
False positive. Vic Fangio.
Could also be a false positive. Shout out Drew Lock for that one, where he literally went 4-1 in his last 5 games. Yep. And we did get that false positive. But if you're going to have 6 wins, you kind of have to get one of the first 2. And you didn't get the first one, so you got to get this one. If you go 0-2, did you guys just see how good Baker Mayfield was last week? He was literally the best quarterback in the NFL statistically, and also the way his team played.
My guy.
Yeah, your guy. And the Bucs look really good. After this week, you go into Tampa to play that team. If you lose the first 2, it's going to be really tough to win on the road. Then the Jets they don't look as strong as a lot of people thought they did. But Aaron Rodgers, we'll see what he has. If you're going 0-3, it's going to be tough to win that game. Then you finally get the Raiders at home. But if you start 0-4, man, you got to split the rest of the games throughout the season. So, Todd, I can't believe the bar's this low, but I think if you want to hit that over, this is a must-win.
Yeah, and I think for me, as a player, I feel like must-wins. I think of must-wins differently. Like, everybody gets the roster when they, like, put the rosters out, and you kind of go through it, and you see, like, the games you should win, the games that might be tough. For me, a must-win is any game that you're favored or it's an even matchup. Like, if there's any chance for us to win this game, we have to win it. Like, we can't lose to the Steelers. We can't lose to the Panthers. If we don't beat the Chiefs 1 out of 2 times, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If we get an upset, I would love that. But any time that we have the opportunity to win or we're favored to win, that's a must-win. You can't give those games away because the schedule gets harder and the season is so long, you can't give up the games you should win.
I totally see. I have a question for you on that, though, about games that you should win and that you're favored in. But first, I got to give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time. The Broncos, this is a toss-up game, according to Vegas. The line has got even closer to 0. So it's even more of a 50-50 game. Steelers favored by 2.5. And if you want to be at this game to see Russell Wilson, maybe he's just on the sidelines. Even if he's on the sidelines, if he's wearing pads, that's an embarrassing look for him. But you can see Russ maybe even play. And if you want to be there, go check out our friends over at Game Time. Use the code DNVR when you sign up to get $20 off. You can download the app or you can go to gametime.co. And you hear showing us on the screen their awesome interface. It's so easy. And the all-in feature shows you exactly how much you're going to pay for a ticket. You don't have to worry about then added fees after because it's all included in that ticket. And my favorite thing is once you pick or once you want to see what your seat looks like, it's going to show you exactly what that view is going to be from your seat. So we love Game Time here. We use it all the time, whether it's for, of course, Broncos games, but other sporting events and concerts as well. So use that code DNVR when you sign up to get $20 off. Terms apply. Fellas, what time is it?
Game time.
Let's go.
Also, shout out to UC Health. We're all trying to be more healthy, right?
Yep.
I would be a lot more healthy if CU goes out and beats CSU this weekend and the Broncos go out and beat the Steelers this weekend.
Well, can Motivation Prime do it?
I mean, he's the CMO, right?
Yeah.
Chief Motivation Officer for our friends over at UC Health. But even if you can't get your teams to win to secure your health, there's other ways that you can do, other things that you can do to make sure that you live a healthy lifestyle, whether that's going out for a walk each day, finding a stand-up desk with a treadmill. That's something that Allie's been doing lately. That's big time healthy move right there. So make sure you do what you can do to be more healthy, and join the Ready Set Co challenge. So if you want to join UC Health's Ready Set Co challenge, click the link in show notes or go to uchealth.org/readysetco. That's Ready Set CO. To get in on it. Let's all be more healthy.
I love that.
Let's get these wins that we need for our health as well.
You mentioned CMO. Just want to plug an article that I wrote yesterday where I talked to the Broncos CMO, their chief marketing officer, and read the article over at thednvr.com because what it is essentially just another way ownership is just dumping money into a better fan experience. So really cool that these owners, when they bought the team, we were like, this is a really good sign because they've got more money than anyone else. Now we just hope they're going to use it, and they are using it to hopefully improve wins, but also improve the product for the fans as well. But Todd, you mentioned you kind of go through the schedule, and you're like, we should win this game. It's a toss-up. Let's get this one. If you were to go through the Broncos' schedule right now, I think there's 2 games that they would be favored in. So as a player, are you going, oh, okay, 2-15 season? Or like, how close do games have to be for you saying like, man, we should have that? Because as I mentioned, this is a very close game this week. It's a 2.5-point spread favoring the Steelers. Mm-hmm. When it's that close, is that like, you're like, okay, we should get that one. But last week when it was a 6-point spread, you're like, okay, realistically, hopefully we can, of course, steal it. But realistically, probably not.
No, I feel like you prepare to win every game. But there's just certain teams at certain times, like I'm not losing to them. Like, I want to win all the games. I want to go to Kansas City and beat them, but I'm not losing to the Panthers. Like, there's at home. Like, we're not doing that. And for me, even last year, like, a game that I would have said we're not is like the Patriots at home at the time of that. You know what I'm saying? When they came into town, how terrible they were. Like, there's certain games where you look at and you see the team and you see the quarterback and you see their rushing attack and their passing game. You're like, we're not losing to them. And so when you start losing those games, I think that's a really bad sign.
So then let me build up this game for you.
Okay.
You're facing a backup quarterback with a questionable offensive line, with a average starting running back, and I guess a talented wide receiver, but seems to be a head case, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess they got a good tight end.
But they also have TJ Watt.
Yeah, I'm just focused on the offensive side. Yeah. From a defensive side, isn't that a game where you're like, man, we can't let them score more than 13 points?
This is a game, I feel like, where the defense should be, like, licking their chops. And it's almost like, man, offense, if you can score 7, we got it. We'll find a way to score 7 on our side as well. Pick 6, I don't care what it is. But all you guys need to do is get 7 on the board, and we'll hold them as well as find another opportunity to score.
I was told by someone on the defensive side of the ball, they're talking shutout inside the building.
If the Steelers are listening, I would post that up in the locker room right now. Man. I mean, all right. I want to go back to last segment about the must-win idea. And I'm starting to feel a little bit more on your guys' side about this. Now, it's for a different reason, though, because I am looking at the schedule, and while I think you have to take like an any given Sunday approach, and I think the reason that Sean Payton so confidently says the next time I win 6 games will be the first time is because he truly believes he's going to outcoach the other side in at least 6 games. He's like, there is no way that there's not 6 times that I can go out there and outcoach the opponent. With that being said, just from like a vibe standpoint, and I'm just starting to think, and you know, you guys, you've been down this road a lot.
Too many times.
If you were to go 0-4, which again, getting way ahead of ourselves here, then all of a sudden, like, the conversations about like, well, what would they do if they got the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah.
And you know, like that does open the door for that, and nobody wants that. So at least from a Zach standpoint, at the very least, I'm saying this is a must win.
Please, thank you. And to be fair to your side, though, Ryan, and the point you laid out, the Broncos started 1-5 or 1-4 last year, and they finished 8-9 with a quarterback that the head coach did not vibe with at all. Fair to say when it comes to the vibe check. Russ is or Bo is completely different with Sean, so they did it last year. They certainly could do it again. But man, I just want it for Broncos country. I want to keep playoff hopes alive. And if you beat a team that has never had a losing record with Mike Tomlin, that's going to give you a lot of hope going in to play the Tampa Bay Bucks the following week. And you're 1-1. I would take 1-1 last week. I would have taken 1-1 to start the season.
I will say, though, and maybe he did, but if Sean Payton was being honest when he was going through the schedule and was saying, like, which coaches am I absolutely going to outcoach, I don't think Mike Tomlin would have been one of them. Now, I think he believes he can outcoach her, just the same way that, like, I believe I could beat Todd in Oklahoma drill until it happens, you know?
You don't believe that.
I don't know. Maybe a little jump cut.
We could try this one day.
No, I mean, the point is...
You got a nice jump cut?
I have a really nice jump cut. The point is everyone, you know, should be confident in themselves going into whatever challenge they have in front of them. But I'm saying, like, if he was just saying, like, which coaches have no chance of not getting out coached by me, he definitely wouldn't have had Mike Tomlin on that list.
That's totally fair, and that's a great transition because, Ryan, Sean might disagree with what you just said. He might actually think the opposite. And let's transition to some nitty-gritties of this game with a little good, bad, and ugly. Which one do you want first?
Ugly.
Ugly. Injuries are starting to bite the Broncos now. Audric Estime goes on the injured reserve yesterday. How much of a blow is this for the Broncos?
Not much.
Yeah.
And that's not because it has nothing to do with how I feel about Audric Estime.
Yeah.
They just have a lot of guys.
Yeah, well, he played, to just keep it real, he played 3 snaps this past week. He had 2 carries, 14 yards. One of them was electric in the good and the bad. He hurdles a guy The biggest running back on your team hurdles a guy, then he fumbles the ball literally milliseconds after. But the Broncos aren't winning or losing games because of Audric Esime right now. Maybe in 2 years, that's the hope, is that he matters that much to this team. But it's Javonte Williams, it's Jaleel. And what do the Broncos need? Explosion. Audric is the least explosive running back on the team. So I agree with you guys, not the biggest deal right now, but he will be out for the next 4 games. But then on top of that, how concerning is it that Garrett Bowles did not practice yesterday?
That's pretty concerning because, I mean, as far as pass blockers, he's our best pass blocking O-lineman, not just tackle. And you talk about T.J. Watt coming into town. That's the guy that has the best potential to stop him. So with him not in the game, it does make the game plan a little bit tougher.
Oh, this is a nightmare for the Broncos. Like, if because especially right after the game, Sean downplays Garrett's injury. On Monday, Sean downplays Garrett's injury. And then so it's like, okay, he's going to be fine. Then yesterday, he doesn't practice. That is a major sign right there. If he doesn't play, the Broncos don't win. So I'm going to factor in that he is going to play because of how confident Sean was. But you're right. He's the best pass blocker on the Broncos right now. And TJ Watt's going to impact this game big time regardless. But if you have Matt Pert out there instead of Garrett Bowles, oh no.
We talk about game wreckers. I don't know if I've seen one person wreck as many games as I've seen TJ Watt do it. Like, the Steelers somehow like get more primetime games than probably they're entertaining enough for. And I feel like every time I turn on one of those games, it's like they win because TJ Watt had like 2 strip sacks and absolutely just destroyed the other team's side of their line. So, I feel like I've talked about this. People who have watched the show for a long time have heard me say this probably a million times. I feel like every year as a sports fan, I learn something new. And it might be this year that like losing one player can actually just ruin the game. And this week, you might put Garrett Bowles as the number 1 person you have to have.
Yeah, it's very, very true. But that's not it on the offensive line. Luke Wattenberg did also miss practice yesterday. So 2 guys that, oh my gosh, obviously Luke not as consequential as losing Garrett, but there's a reason he was always the starter from the start of training camp, is because he was just leaps and bounds better than Alex Forsyth. So that is a big one too, but that's not it from the offensive side of the ball. The Broncos' leading receiver, Devon Vele, did not practice. And the Broncos' arguable second receiver, and Josh Reynolds, did not practice. So the Broncos went from perfect health, literally no one on the injury report last week leading up to week 1, to a lot of questions there. That's why it's the ugly. You want the bad or the good next?
Let's just work our way.
Get the bad out of the way. Mike Tomlin, you say he's a damn good coach. Both of you agree? He's 24-6 against rookie quarterbacks in his career. That is an 80 win percentage?
What's his actual win percentage, though?
It's probably somewhere in the 6s, I would imagine.
Okay.
6.5 would be my guess. I don't know. He's never had a losing season.
I know. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, is he all the way up there in like the 70s of win percentage?
He might be, but he's better against rookies, which isn't a surprise. Like, it was Bill Belichick who had never lost to a rookie, right? And then that's in the COVID year, I think. No, it was something where
you were right.
It's in the 6s.
634.
634.
174. 102.
That's wild. That is wild. But I think Drew Lock gave Bill Belichick his first loss to either a rookie or to a young quarterback, something like that. So it can happen. It can happen, and that can be Bo Nix surprising Mike Tomlin here. But now here's the good. And why Sean might look at this schedule and say, Mike Tomlin's a damn good coach, but I'm better. Because he's proven it. He's 3-0 against Mike Tomlin in his career. Now, I like to take this history stuff for the most part and throw it out the window. Like, the Broncos have the best winning percentage in week 1 games since 1960. I'd like to throw that out the window. It's a fun stat.
What about home openers? I feel like they're way up there, too, in home openers.
Yeah, definitely up there. Do you think that helps them this week?
Yes.
See, I don't.
Okay.
So I take that stuff and throw it out the window.
You want to know why I think it counts?
I do.
And then I'll let you get right back on track. Heat and altitude combined.
It's fair.
Altitude.
There you go.
And I'm not throwing this one out, even though Sean has never played Mike Tomlin with this Broncos team. But it is Sean in his offense going up against Mike Tomlin's defense. And this might give us a little insight that Sean knows how to pull the right levers against Mike Tomlin's defense. Now, if you want to flip it, you can say, I'm sure he's 3-0 when he's had Drew Brees and Hall of Fame quarterback. Now he's working with a rookie making a second start. But I'm going to give Sean a little bit of confidence here, saying he knows the right levers to pull against what's always been a great defense. You're calling bull junk.
Is it bull junk? Has he ever beaten TJ Watt and Mike Tomlin? Maybe that's the dynamic duo. But nevertheless, he knows how to scheme against Mike Tomlin and his defenses. That's a good sign. I think we have a young quarterback. Everybody knows that. And I think scheme is very important when trying to tell him, like, this guy is going to be open. Just make this throw, make this play. Just giving him some for sure plays to make him feel more comfortable in the game. So if Sean has a few in his back pocket that have always worked against Mike Tomlin and his defenses, it's time to pull them out so we can get some easy wins and get Bo's confidence up within the game.
I totally agree. And this is Sean was the one. And Todd, I'm curious if this was harped inside the facility over training camp. But one of the things Sean's done to the media is he talked about how important a fast start is this year. He did not do that last year. This year, he's been preaching how important a fast start is. He's pointed to last year where I think all but one team had a winning record after their first 5 games or something like that went and made the playoffs there. And was that something that was preached inside the building?
Yeah, I think it was talked about just because of the statistics of it. I think that statistics are big for most head coaches, whether it's starting fast, whether it's winning the turnover battle, whether it's winning the time of possession battle. There are certain keys that if you hit them within the game, you have a really high likelihood of winning that game and also having a successful season. So that was definitely talked about.
Yeah, and that's why, again, in Sean's mind, this might be a must-win to get that win and to have a pretty hot start right now. All right.
Couple things really quick. Mike Tomlin also 1-5 in his career at Denver. 4-5 against the Broncos in total. And yes, 0-3 against Sean Payton, which is the only coach that he's coached against 3 times that he's never beat.
That's incredible.
Shout
stats.
out to Mace for that.
Those all give us excellent, a lot of hope. All good. Maybe that counteracts the bad and the ugly for this game.
It makes me feel better.
Man, the home field advantage that the Broncos have is pretty awesome.
Yep.
How much of that's altitude, Todd?
There's a good amount of it. I think guys just aren't ready to play at this altitude. And if it is a hot day on Sunday, plus, the video in the fourth quarter, it does make it tough on guys. And you do look on the other sideline towards the third and fourth quarter like, all right, we got to find a way to take this over. Like, they're tired. So it definitely works. Man,
as long as it works on TJ Watt, if he can just be slower in the fourth quarter, that would be huge. All right, let's get into predictions right now. What is going to happen? Are the Broncos going to win? Let's save that one for our final prediction. Let's jump into the rest of the AFC West right now, where we've got the Bengals going into Kansas City. This game always has so much juice. I wouldn't really do that. No, don't piss off Mahomes. This game always has so much juice. I feel like this is the first year it is lacking some juice. I mean, this is like a 6-point game. This is one of the biggest spreads in the NFL this week. Yeah.
Ooh, overreaction city.
Oh, you don't think you're not worried about Joe Burrow's wrist falling off?
How he picked up that water bottle?
Yeah.
I watched that. I didn't feel like it was all that concerning the way he picked up the water bottle.
I wasn't concerned about that. I was concerned that he's in the huddle and messing with his wrist.
Yeah.
It's not. That's what concerned me, not the water bottle.
That's what I always do though after I hit a really bad shot in golf.
Blame it on the wrist.
What's going on here? Sometimes it just makes you feel a little better.
They just lost to the Patriots. The Patriots are one of 2 teams who are supposed to be worse than the Broncos this year. Nationally.
I could end up looking stupid, but that's fine. I don't care about that.
Wow,
sometimes I think that week 2 is the best week to profit on betting in the NFL because the overreactions are so stark. So I don't think the Bengals are as bad as they looked in that game. And I think that they are going to go into Burrowhead and win this game. And that's not me just like being a Chiefs hater. The Chiefs always have games early in the season like this where they just like don't necessarily have it or don't bring it. And I think this will be one of them.
I love the confidence there. I thought the Chiefs were going to melt down at the end of last week. And if they had lost, if that toe is in, they're going to get the 2-point conversion and beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are going to melt down, then I could see their season. They're still going to have a winning record, make the playoffs, but I could have seen their season going like 10-7 after melting down last week. They didn't melt down last week, so I thought that was their game that they were going to lose and blow. I think the Chiefs are going to win this one. I'm really worried about what the Chiefs could do this year, unfortunately.
There should be someone from the Bills needs to be in jail for letting them get Xavier Worthy.
How does this happen?
But like of anyone, how do the Bills let that happen?
Oh, it's very true.
Like they are your number one obstacle between you and winning a Super Bowl, and you allowed them to get their Tyreek Hill replacement.
Yeah. Well, I guess they've tried in the past and it hasn't always worked with fast guys.
It makes me sick.
Yeah, it's bad. Todd?
I think the Chiefs will win this one for two reasons. I think Joe Burrow's wrist might be a bigger concern than they're letting out right now as an organization. And then also, I think, the Bengals usually start slow, and it doesn't help to start slow and have your quarterback injured. And I think the Chiefs faced probably the second best team in the AFC West. I mean, the AFC last week. So they should have enough momentum to get them through another game and beat the Bengals.
And Henry is going with the Chiefs as well. This next one, Ryan, I really hope that you go against the grain here. Chargers at Panthers. It's in Carolina.
I can't do it.
You can't.
The Panthers are so bad. The whole organization is just a mess. Bryce Young doesn't look like he got any better over the offseason.
Unfortunately not.
And so, yeah, for those reasons, I'm out.
Yeah, so you won't even pick the Chargers. You're just out on the Panthers? Is that
yes,
it?
exactly. Because I'm not going to say their names.
Yeah, I'm going Chargers here. Todd?
Same.
And Henry's going Chargers as well. The Panthers game against the Broncos is going to be one that is like, I think it's going to be more nervous energy than excitement, because they might be an 0-17 team, the Panthers. And you have them here. You better beat the heck out of them.
It's a must win.
Yeah, that one is definitely a must
We can't lose that game.
Yes, exactly.
What week is that, though?
Week 8, I think.
Could be Tankathon.
Oh, man. That'll really be Tankathon if they lose that one. Raiders going into Baltimore. Ryan, do it. Choose the underdog.
Why would I choose the underdog?
yeah.
Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a clean sweep.
Easy. There's no way the Raiders win this game.
And Henry's going Ravens as well.
Just because I know everyone cares about my fantasy team, I won my fantasy game this last weekend with Isaiah Likely and Jaden Reed on my bench.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was not a likely choice.
No, but both of those guys are sick.
Yeah, they really are. Is Mark Andrews just done?
I don't know. I doubt it. But Isaiah Likely certainly seems like the future there.
That is very likely, Ryan.
Seems like
Yes, it does. All right, let's jump to the Steelers Broncos game. Todd, how is this gonna unfold?
Man, I think this might be like an ugly game, like, and it might be like a weird score too, like 12-9, like just a defensive
Would that fix the
battle.
vibes?
Just I don't even know. I think maybe a win's a win right now.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Getting a win, I think, is just positive energy in the locker room. But I think it's gonna be a defensive battle. So like 12-9.
Who?
I don't even know how we're getting there, but that's the score I have.
Who?
Broncos.
Broncos
Yeah.
get the win. Serious question, and this is a very serious question. If, let's say, the Broncos win, I give you two options. Broncos win 6-3 this week, or they lose 35-34.
I'll take the 34 points so quick.
Do you think the rest of Broncos country would?
Probably not.
Like on Monday
taking the
morning,
win.
vibes are better with the loss, but 34 points?
No, vibes would be worse with the
Yes.
loss. But I internally would feel better because now I've seen it against a good defense.
I think the vibes would be better with the loss. I think the vibes would be better because you would say Bo Nix just dropped 34 points against a great defense.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I think so.
It's all about winning in the NFL. They don't care how good. Oh, that was a good loss. Like that doesn't. You want to win games.
You should tell that to CSU.
Todd, I think just because this year's at the end of the day, it's all about Bo.
We talked about going 10-7.
Yes.
Are the Broncos making the playoffs, and now a good loss is what we're hoping for.
I don't. This is you're right, but also you're right.
Oh man, how about a 35-34 win?
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and
all the pressure can be on Vance. I'm sorry, Todd, and I know you're close to Vance, but like from Broncos Country's perspective, give the blame to Vance, not to Bo.
Yeah,
that's what they would choose.
I remember CHGO having conversations like this about Justin Fields because there was like a couple games where he really went off and they lost.
Oh,
and
the Broncos game last year.
Well, 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
When he was still a rookie or second year guy, whatever year it was. Like I just remember them being like, yeah, but like now we've seen it. Like at some point, you do have to see a game where Bo Nix proves that he can like light up the scoreboard for you to feel good during the season. So the sooner I get it, the better. But I do believe that the vibes would be slightly better with a win because then all of your goals and all of your aspirations are still like right in front of you. Whereas if you're 0-2, it starts to feel like they're slipping away.
Okay, I need Toyota chat. Help me out. Is anyone else with me on this? Comment, let me know because Adam is also not on my side. Okay, Ryan, how's this game going to play out? We only got a couple minutes.
Well, let me just say something. We say we make it more fun to be a Broncos fan. And just sitting here on the set with you guys is the first time that I've been like, I should go to the game this Sunday.
Let's go.
So you guys made it more fun for me to be a Broncos fan.
Game time, code DNVR.
I will do that.
I know you will.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, on the contingency that Garrett Bowles plays, give me Broncos 17-9.
I love that. What an ugly score, but a win. Yeah. Mine's also on the contingency that Garrett Bowles plays. But this is my final prediction, Todd. I was literally going to go 13-9, but I'm going to change it up. I'm going to say the Broncos are leading 16-9, and Russell Wilson gets the ball with a minute 50 left in the game. And he drives down the field, scores a touchdown. It's 16-15 Broncos, and Mike Tomlin says, Russ, you stay out there. We're going for 2. And Russell Wilson gets sacked as he's scrambling like 17 yards back to try to make a play. The Broncos win. Jonathan Cooper.
Nice.
And he ends up leading the league in sacks after this week because he gets 2 on Russ this week and ends up with 4 for the season. The Broncos win on a last-second failed 2-point conversion. Broncos win 16-15. We're all on the Broncos train. Henry sees a very ineffective offense for the Broncos this week. He's going Steelers 23, Broncos 6. Wow. Let's hope Henry is wrong, just like he was last week. Henry went 0 for 3 last week, so let's hope he goes another loss in that loss column. We've got a couple of super chats to hit on our way out. Bruce says, flying in from Huntington Beach, California for the game. Haven't been to a home game since we beat the Steelers in the playoffs in 2016. I'm bringing the luck, and we're getting the dub. I'm ready for DNVR tailgate.
Yeah.
Let's go, Bruce. Can't wait to see you at the tailgate. David W. says, got to hang out with Todd yesterday. What's good?
What's good, my man? Yeah, that was, he's my partner in that secret mission. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, David, why don't you let us know about this secret mission?
Don't say nothing yet.
Aaron Palmer, again, my favorite with the cat, coming in and says, the Commanders, Patriots, and Vikings are using virtual reality to help train the rookie quarterbacks. Do you know if the Broncos are using virtual reality for quarterback training? I don't. I'll do some research in on that, though. That was like a really big thing. I think, was it Drew Lock was here? And there were so many questions about it. Case, and then that just totally fizzled away.
Well, it was the same question.
Right, exactly.
It was the same question that we were asking now, and the answer was no, they weren't. But other teams were, and it was like, why are we not using technology for this? And I would say the same thing again, but I get the feeling that Sean Payton, not a big VR guy.
No, old school is what we know about Sean. And Mason chimes in and says, do we think Bo will get more runs this week?
If they want to win.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I
needs
think
a
so.
few. Yeah.
I think so. And final one from Kenj, who says, Broncos Country has been through it since Todd won us a Super Bowl. Shout out to the best fan base, the organization in the nation. Future looks bright. LFB, love you guys. We love you right back. Thank you so much for that. And thank you all so much for tuning in. Hopefully, everyone has a great week. Hopefully, the showdown is a blast. And hopefully, we're talking about a Broncos win on the post-game show. Tune in with us on the pre-game show on Sunday. Ryan?
I just wanted to say thanks to everyone for the love and the comments. I'll be back at least once a week.
Let's go and let's Bo. Everyone have a great weekend.
We all silly like the mayor.